You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. Alan Watts. There's a question no one says out loud, but it lingers in the air. Why does nothing bring me joy anymore? Not music, not friends, not even the things I used to love. You move through your day like a ghost of yourself. You laugh at the right times. You nod in the right moments. But somewhere deep inside, you're not in it. You're watching your life happen, and you don't know how to get back inside it. This isn't just burnout. It's not laziness. It's not that something's wrong with you. It's that everything is too much and nothing is enough. In this video, we're not here to fix you. We're not here to tell you to hustle harder or think more positively. We're here to take a hammer to the glass box you didn't know you were living in. Through the lens of Alan Watts, we'll explore the quiet collapse behind your eyes, the kind that no one sees, but you feel every day. And maybe, just maybe, by the end of this, you'll see that your emptiness isn't a dead end, it's a doorway. If you're ready to walk through it, subscribe to The Way of Watts, not for tips, but for truth. Have you ever chased something so hard only to find it meant nothing once you caught it? That's the curse of modern achievement. We're told that joy lies in goals, careers, relationships, milestones, but no one tells you what happens after you reach them. A strange silence, a kind of emptiness that doesn't make sense. You hit the mark, yet nothing inside you shifts. You expected fireworks and got static. We're living in a time where accomplishment is religion. Productivity is praised like a virtue. If you're not grinding, you're wasting your life. But here's the trick. When life becomes a checklist, joy becomes a ghost. You're always one step away from being enough. One promotion away from feeling proud. One relationship away from feeling loved. But the finish line keeps moving. Alan Watts spoke often about this illusion. He said we confuse life with a destination, that we're always on our way somewhere, never actually arriving. From childhood, we're taught to prepare for what's next, school, then college, then job, then retirement. At what point are we supposed to live? When you pin your happiness on the future, the present becomes a burden. You're not living your life, you're enduring it, waiting for a time when you're allowed to feel good. But what if that time never comes? What if joy isn't at the end of the path, but in the walking itself? And here's the painful part. We do all this voluntarily. No one's forcing you to live like this, but it's in the air. It's how we've been conditioned. You could be sitting in a quiet room, safe, healthy, and fed, and still feel like you're failing just because you're not achieving. This obsession with progress has turned living into a transaction. Time becomes currency. Experiences are investments. Even relaxation has to be productive. Self-care becomes another task on the list, so we lose touch with the very core of joy, spontaneity, play, presence. And when those vanish, life feels like work, even when it's not. Joy doesn't die overnight. It erodes slowly under the weight of constant striving. You forget how to do things just for the sake of doing them. You forget what it feels like to laugh for no reason, to sit without needing a reason, to exist without explanation. The world told you success was the answer, but maybe, just maybe, it's the question that's wrong. How often do you feel like you're performing your life instead of living it, that you're being watched even when you're alone? That's not paranoia. It's the side effect of constant self-awareness. You become two people, the one who lives and the one who judges the living. This isn't the natural state of human consciousness. It's a byproduct of a culture obsessed with identity. You're encouraged to find yourself, define yourself, express yourself as if yourself is a product that needs to be packaged and sold. The moment you become an observer of your every move, you stop being. Alan Watts warned against this internal division. He said the self is not something separate from experience, it's the experience itself. When you try to step outside yourself to control or analyze everything, you become stuck, like a camera filming itself, like a flame trying to burn itself. This self-consciousness is exhausting. You can't relax into a moment because you're busy narrating it in your head. You're evaluating your facial expression, your tone of voice, your posture. Even your feelings aren't safe. They get filtered, judged, labeled. Nothing is raw. Everything becomes curated, and it gets worse with social media. You don't just live your life anymore. You post it, brand it, optimize it. Every second is content. Every moment is a possible post. The line between your real self and your performance blurs until you forget which one was the original. Eventually, you stop trusting your instincts. You hesitate before you speak. You question your own desires. Joy becomes impossible when you're editing yourself in real time. It's like trying to dance while watching yourself in the mirror and grading your moves. The tragedy is, we think this is necessary, that to be accepted, we have to be perfect, that to be loved, we have to be polished. But the truth is, joy only flows when you stop trying so hard. When you're not worried about being impressive, when you're not split into pieces, you're not a brand, you're not a product, you're not a constant project under construction. You are already enough as you are. You don't need a reason to smile or dance or speak. You just need space to exist, unedited. The cure isn't to try harder, it's to let go. Let the watcher sleep, let the performer sit down. Let yourself be lived by the moment. Repetition is comfortable. It creates stability, predictability, a sense of control. But over time, comfort mutates into numbness. What once made you feel safe now makes you feel stuck. You wake up, follow the same script, go to sleep, and wonder why you're slowly fading. You're not living, you're recycling. We were never designed for autopilot. The human mind thrives on novelty, challenge, surprise. But routine strips the world of its color. It's like watching the same movie every day. Even the most beautiful scene loses its magic when you've memorized every word. It starts subtly. First, you lose the spark for little things. Music doesn't hit the same. Food tastes bland. Conversations feel recycled. Then you begin to withdraw. You stop seeking newness because you expect disappointment. Why try something new if it's going to feel old anyway? But the real tragedy isn't boredom. It's the slow death of curiosity. You stop asking questions. You stop chasing wonder. You stop looking at the world with wide eyes. And without curiosity, joy has nowhere to land. It just floats above you, unreachable. Alan Watts often spoke about the rhythm of life, the dance of chaos and order. Too much chaos and we panic, too much order and we die inside. Routine becomes a cage when it lacks play. When it's not balanced with risk, spontaneity, and chaos, it hardens into monotony. And it's not your job's fault or your responsibilities or your schedule. It's the absence of intentional disruption. You can live the same day 100 times, but the problem is not repetition itself. It's that you're not awake inside it. You're not seeing the details. You're not listening. The answer isn't to burn everything down and start over. It's to re-enter your life with presence. Instead of changing what you do, change how you do it. Walk a different route, ask a stranger a question, make a meal you've never tried. Say yes to something before you overthink it. Joy hides in the cracks, in the unplanned, in the spaces between the schedule. It shows up when you break your rhythm long enough to notice you're alive. Don't fear repetition, fear sleepwalking through it. How many of your thoughts are truly yours? That's a hard question to face, but sit with it for a second. The way you define success, the things you say you want, even the version of yourself you're trying to become, did you choose those, or were they handed to you packaged as truth? From the moment we're born, We inherit expectations. Family tells us who we should be. Culture tells us what matters. Media shows us who's winning. And before we even know who we are, we've already been cast in a role. You live with voices in your head that sound like you, but they're not. They're echoes. Some are your parents, some are teachers, some are friends or enemies or celebrities you've never met. Over time you mistake those voices for your own, and so when you feel unhappy, you don't even know why. Alan Watts challenged this illusion. He said that true freedom begins when you stop confusing your identity with your conditioning. When you peel back the layers of programming and ask, what do I want when no one is watching? Most of us never ask that. We're too busy chasing validation from people we don't even like. We build lives around what looks good, not what feels right. We pursue jobs we don't love, relationships that don't fit, goals we didn't set, then wonder why nothing brings us joy. The problem isn't failure, it's success at the wrong thing. You might be living someone else's dream, and no matter how well you perform, it'll never feel like home, because your soul can tell when it's pretending. And joy doesn't live in imitation, it lives in authenticity. But it takes courage to disappoint the world so you can stop disappointing yourself. It takes rebellion to unlearn, to say, no, that's not who I am, even if it makes you look lost for a while. Joy returns when you reclaim your voice, when your choices come from truth, not pressure, when your yes means yes, and your no means no. When you no longer need to justify what you love or apologize for what you don't, you are not here to meet expectations, you are here to wake up. There's a moment that comes when everything goes quiet. The distractions don't work anymore. The shows, the scrolling, the small talk, it all goes flat, and in that silence, something ancient rises, a question you can't ignore. What now? You might call it depression, a slump, burnout, but maybe it's not a malfunction. Maybe it's a signal. Maybe that emptiness isn't a problem to fix, but a space being cleared for something real to emerge. Alan Watts believed that what we call emptiness is often just a life stripped of illusion. When you lose the stories you've told yourself about who you should be, what should make you happy, what success should feel like, what's left is silence. And that silence, while painful, is also fertile. It's the ground where true self begins to grow. But most people panic in the void. They run from it. They try to fill it with anything: food, noise, chaos, goals. Because being still is terrifying. We've been taught that silence is failure, that not knowing is weakness, that if you're not building or fixing, then you're wasting time. So you run. You chase new highs, you reinvent, you rebrand, but the stillness waits. It always does. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. Joy often disappears before transformation begins. You lose your taste for the old life before you find the new one. That's not brokenness, that's transition. And the deeper you go into that quiet, the more honest things get. You start to see which parts of you were performative, which dreams were borrowed, which desires were just distractions. It's a stripping down, and yes, it's brutal, but it's also liberating, because when you've lost everything that isn't really you, you finally get to meet what is. That meeting doesn't come with fireworks, it comes in whispers, in peace, in the moment you stop striving and simply sit. When you don't need anything to entertain you, validate you, or save you. That's when joy starts to return, not loud but steady, not in things but in presence, not in outcomes but in awareness. You don't need to escape the void, you need to trust it. Life used to feel magical, didn't it? As a kid, even the simplest things sparked wonder, a puddle, a leaf, a song, but now joy feels rare. Play feels irresponsible. Laughter feels expensive. What happened? Somewhere along the way we made life serious. We traded play for productivity. We turned curiosity into caution. We taught ourselves that joy has to be earned, scheduled, and deserved. But joy doesn't respond to pressure. It disappears when it's demanded. It hates clocks, hates rules, hates expectations. It arrives unannounced, often when you stop trying. Alan Watts always returned to one idea, that life is not a problem to solve, but a dance to enjoy. The problem is we've forgotten how to dance. We're so used to measuring, tracking, improving, we can't just be. Ask yourself, when was the last time you did something useless, truly useless, not as a hobby, not as a side hustle, just for the experience, just because it felt good? If it's been a while, that's a sign. Your soul is starving for play. This isn't about quitting your job or ignoring your responsibilities. It's about reintroducing moments of unstructured joy into your day. Moments where you're not performing, not improving, not producing, just being, just breathing. Maybe that means making a mess. Maybe that means being silly. Maybe it means being alone without a plan. These moments are not distractions from life. They are life, and they're not luxuries. They're necessities. You are not a machine. You don't exist to be useful. You exist to experience, to explore, to enjoy. And joy is not childish. It's sacred. It's what keeps your humanity intact in a world that constantly demands more. The return of joy doesn't happen through effort. It happens through surrender, not to chaos, but to presence, not to laziness, but to aliveness. Joy isn't waiting at the end of your to-do list. It's hiding in the spaces between. You don't need a new life. You need to remember what it means to live. You've made it this far, and that means something. It means you're tired of being numb, tired of chasing meaning like it's always somewhere else, tired of being a stranger inside your own life. Alan Watts once said, "The meaning of life is just to be alive," but we complicate it. We build entire empires around the idea that we're not enough until we do more, prove more, earn more. But maybe joy doesn't come from adding anything. Maybe it comes from subtracting the noise. Maybe it returns when we stop trying so hard to matter. This isn't a video that gives you answers. It's a match. What you do with the fire, that's yours. So as you step back into your day, don't just survive it, feel it. Let one small thing remind you that you're still here, still breathing, still capable of wonder. We'll be here when you need to remember again. Until then, stay awake, stay curious, and let the silence speak.